Hello. In this video, I will go over how to use the various segmentation tools in pMRI. Let's begin. Image segmentation is performed on the analysis page, which is accessible after loading a study to analyze on the local studies page. There are 5 different color-coded regions of interest that can be defined per analysis. These are selectable by the ROI toggle buttons. Let's use the default ROI 1 for the examples. There are also 5 different region of interest tools. Click the Draw ROI Mode button or press 3 on the keyboard to turn on the ROI tool. Right-click the Draw ROI Mode button or press 3 repeatedly to switch between the different modes. The 5 modes are Freehand, Circular, Polygon, Region Growing, and MRU. The first 4 modes are available for all data types, while the MRU mode is reserved for MRUrograms and will be grayed out otherwise. Let's go through these one by one. Press 3 on the keyboard repeatedly until we have the freehand mode cursor selected. Hold down the left mouse button to draw a new region of any shape on the current slice. Let's draw another one. Drawing a new region overrides the previous. However, if we hold Shift while drawing, the old region remains intact. Using the right mouse button will erase selected areas. If we change slices, we can continue our ROI on a new slice without affecting the previous. However, holding Control while drawing with either button will affect all slices, not just the current one. This is useful if you want to select a large region quickly. Adjust the threshold slider to threshold the newly drawn areas. We will go into more detail about thresholding later in the video. Let's clear the ROI by pressing Ctrl and Delete on the keyboard and move on to the circular ROI mode. Draw with the left mouse button and erase with the right. Holding Ctrl will draw or erase from all slices. Use the plus and minus keys or hold X on the keyboard and scroll with the mouse wheel to change the radius of the circle. Next, we have the Polygon tool. Left-click to add points, right-click to erase points. When finished, double-click to close the polygon and finalize the region. Just like the freehand tool, this will create a new ROI in place of the previous one on the current slice. Holding Shift while finalizing will add to the current region without erasing the previous ones. Once again, holding Control while drawing will apply changes to all slices. Let's clear the ROI again, this time by going to the ROI menu and selecting Clear. Next, we have the Region Growing tool. Left-clicking gives the tool a starting location to grow from. Right now, we don't have a threshold set, so all pixels are being picked up. Let's raise the threshold to see what happens. We can see how the ROI expands from the starting location in all directions until it hits a wall defined by our lower and upper threshold limits. Once again, left-clicking will start a new region. Right-clicking will erase, holding Shift will add to your current selection, and holding Control will apply region growing to all slices. Holding X on the keyboard activates the split mode for the growing tool. While the split mode is active, we can use it to cut connections between regions without having to manually subtract every piece, like this. As soon as we let go of X, the region growing is updated. The remaining MRU mode will be covered in a separate video. The power and flexibility of these tools becomes apparent when used in combination with the various parametric maps and thresholds. Let's run through a couple of examples to demonstrate this. Here we have an R2-star liver iron study. We could try to manually select the liver or to threshold based on signal intensity. However, it is much easier to segment based on an R2-star map for these types of cases. Here, we can easily see the boundaries of the liver as well as the vessels. The various ROI drawing modes work exactly the same, only the thresholds are now applied to the R2-star map. Let's drop a seed into the liver and adjust the threshold. That looks pretty good, but we have a couple of bright pixels that are not being picked up. Let's fix that by manually typing in an upper threshold above the default maximum and pressing Enter. If we hold Control while pressing Enter, the range of the threshold slider will also be updated, like so. Now, right-click on the window leveling slider, change the color scale, and press C on the keyboard to make a nice segmented R2-star color map. Here, we have a T1 MOLE sequence. This time, let's segment the myocardium based on T1 values. Let's place another region in the blood pool using the same method, but with a different threshold. Next, we have a MAG3 study. Let's make a dynamic MIP to better visualize the kidneys. Now, let's region grow based on the MIP counts. Here we have an MRU. Let's segment based on the blood volume map to get an ROI of only the renal cortex. There are many different applications for this type of segmentation. Some of them will be covered in detail in other videos. Let's look at more ways to manipulate ROIs. As we saw already, we can define multiple ROIs by using the ROI toggle buttons. We can also toggle the visibility on and off for individual ROIs by clicking repeatedly on their ROI toggle buttons. The overlay slider adjusts the overall opacity of the ROIs. The ROI menu at the top allows us to perform some operations on the regions. For example, let's get the intersection between two regions. We begin by defining Region 1 and Region 2. Now, select Region 1 and then select Copy from the ROI menu. Switch to Region 2 and select Paste and from the ROI menu. Now, Region 2 contains the intersection of Region 1 and the previous Region 2. The other paste options work in similar ways. Let's look at the layer option. This option allows us to stack multiple thresholds onto the same ROI. Here is an R2 liver iron scan. First, we threshold the liver based on R2 values. Now, let's also exclude pixels that do not fit the mono-exponential decay model well. We press Layer to first lock the region. Now, we switch maps to the mono-exponential correlation map. This is a map of the correlation coefficient of the mono-exponential fits on a pixel-by-pixel basis. Now, let's raise the threshold to only keep pixels that have a correlation of 0.9 or higher. Let's press Layer to lock the region once again. Finally, let's go back to the original images and trim the edges of the region by lowering the maximum threshold here. You may do this with any parameter any number of times. Don't forget to press Ctrl S to save your ROIs. Finally, you can right-click on the segmentation slider to toggle a smoothing filter on and off. This is sometimes useful to help with segmenting noisy images. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.